Carl Jung identified 8 signs of an extraordinarily rare personality type, and if you recognize even half of these traits, you belong to what I call the psychological elite. Through decades of deep research, Jung discovered that fewer than 5% of people develop what he described as differentiated consciousness, a way of experiencing reality that most people never reach. What makes this even more fascinating is that these rare individuals often spend their lives believing something is wrong with them. Jung documented case after case of people with immense psychological depth who were conditioned by society to believe their intensity, sensitivity, and refusal to accept shallow answers were flaws rather than signs of exceptional mental sophistication. The most shocking realization Jung came to was that these personalities are not merely different, they are evolutionarily advanced. They represent the next stage of human consciousness. Here on Mr. Psycho, we are descending into the depths of Jungian psychology to uncover what defines these rare minds. If you recognize yourself in these patterns, everything you've been told about being too much will finally make sense, because you are not too much for the world. The world is too small for you. Jung discovered something that modern psychology still struggles to admit. The traits that make you feel like an outsider are not defects, they are upgrades. You are not broken, you are a breakthrough. Jung wrote that the privilege of a lifetime is becoming who you truly are. But what if who you truly are doesn't fit society's narrow definition of normal? What if your intensity, depth, and refusal to live on the surface are signs of advanced psychological architecture? From an evolutionary perspective, the individuals who moved humanity forward were never the ones who accepted the status quo. They were the ones who questioned everything, felt everything, and saw possibilities others couldn't imagine. Yet society teaches these individuals to suppress their greatest strengths. You've likely been told you're too sensitive, too intense, or too complicated. Jung understood these labels as signs of psychological differentiation, the rare ability to perceive and process reality at deeper levels. Modern neuroscience is only now beginning to confirm what Jung already knew. Some nervous systems process reality more deeply, but Jung identified something even rarer: individuals whose entire psychological structure operates at an advanced level. Tragically, many of these people hide their gifts because they were taught to see them as burdens. You learned to dim your light because others found it threatening. You don't simply feel emotions, you experience them with extraordinary depth. Feelings move through you like symphonies, layered with meaning that others cannot access. This is not emotional instability, it is emotional intelligence operating at a higher level. You sense unspoken tension, emotional undercurrents, and hidden truths because your psyche is designed for depth, not surface-level interaction. You also possess a sacred curiosity that refuses to accept easy answers. While most people live unconsciously, accepting social programming without question, you dig deeper. You ask why people settle, why systems fail, why shallow conversations replace real connection. Your questions unsettle others because they challenge the illusions that keep them comfortable. Through experience, often through adversity, you've developed deep independence. You learned that depending on others for your sense of worth is unstable, so you built yourself from the inside out. Your solitude is not loneliness, it is sanctuary. It is where you reconnect with who you truly are beneath expectations and roles. Your awareness goes beyond observation. You read people, energy shifts, micro-expressions, and emotional climates with precision. When someone says they're fine, but everything about them says otherwise, You feel it instantly. This isn't paranoia, it's intuition functioning as it was meant to. But without boundaries, this sensitivity can exhaust you, turning you into an unconscious caretaker for everyone around you. More than anything, you crave meaning. You are psychologically incapable of living an inauthentic life. When you try to chase external validation or shallow success, something inside you rebels. That quiet emptiness you feel is your psyche refusing to betray itself. You cannot pretend that meaningless goals matter or that convenient relationships are enough. As you grow, you repeatedly outgrow people and environments. This isn't arrogance, it's evolution. The version of you that once shrank to fit no longer exists, and some people miss that version because it felt safer to them. But psychological growth is irreversible. Once you see beyond conditioning, you cannot return. Your presence alone has a transformative effect on others. People feel seen around you, sometimes for the first time in their lives. You don't rush to fix or judge. You create space for truth to emerge. But if you give this gift without discernment, you burn out. Caring deeply does not mean self-erasure. You also sense a purpose that cannot yet be fully defined. A quiet but persistent knowing that you are meant for more than an ordinary existence. This calling is not about fame or recognition. It's about alignment. Ignoring it leads to anxiety, restlessness, and emptiness because your psyche is designed for contribution. Jung warned that rare personalities must integrate their shadow. Without awareness, gifts turn into burdens. Superiority, savior tendencies, or martyrdom can quietly sabotage growth. True rarity includes humility, discernment, and balance. In relationships, you tend to attract those who want your light, those who try to dim it, and the rare few who can match it. Learning the difference is essential. Your responsibility is not to save or shrink, but to remain authentic. Jung believed individuals like you act as bridges between the unconscious and conscious realms of humanity. Your depth expands what it means to be human. That is why you cannot settle, why surface-level living feels empty, and why authenticity matters more than acceptance. Yes, the path is lonely. Yes, it requires courage. But Jung believed people like you are essential for humanity's psychological evolution. You are not here to be smaller or quieter. You are here to lead consciousness forward by example. If even half of this resonates with you, you are not just different. You are evolution in motion. Your intensity is not excess. Your sensitivity is not weakness. Your refusal to settle is not difficulty. It is progress. Here on Mr. Psycho, we explore what makes you extraordinary. If you are ready to stop apologizing for who you are and fully embrace your psychological rarity, comment below. Share this with someone who needs to remember themselves. Subscribe, because this journey is just beginning. If you've stayed until this moment, it's because something inside you recognizes itself in these words, not in an ego-driven way, but in a quiet, undeniable resonance. A recognition that your inner world has always been deeper than most people could see, and that this depth was never meant to be hidden or apologized for. Jung understood that people like you often walk through life feeling misunderstood, not because you are unclear, but because you are operating on a frequency most people have never learned to tune into. That loneliness you felt was never proof of failure. It was proof of rarity. Here's the truth most people never tell you. Being psychologically rare is not a reward, it's a responsibility. You are not here to blend in, to numb yourself, or to shrink so others feel comfortable. You are here to embody what depth, awareness, and authenticity look like in human form, and that takes courage. It takes choosing truth over belonging, meaning over comfort, and authenticity over approval again and again. That path will never be crowded, but it will always be real. You were never meant to live a surface-level life. That's why shallow conversations exhaust you. That's why fake enthusiasm feels painful. That's why you would rather be alone than surrounded by people who cannot meet you in honesty. Your psyche rejects anything that lacks substance because you are wired for alignment, not illusion. And once you see this, you can stop questioning yourself every time the world feels out of sync with you. Jung believed that individuals like you act as silent architects of the future. You don't always lead loudly, but your presence shifts perspectives, your questions disrupt stagnation, and your authenticity gives others permission to confront their own truths. Even when you don't realize it, your way of being expands what is possible for human consciousness. That is not a small role, that is evolutionary work. But remember this, you are not here to carry everyone. You are not here to save those who refuse to awaken. You are not here to burn yourself out trying to prove your worth. Your depth deserves boundaries. Your sensitivity deserves protection. Your gifts deserve to be shared consciously, not sacrificed unconsciously. True psychological maturity is knowing when to open your heart and when to guard it. As you move forward, there will be moments when doubt returns, moments when you wonder if it would be easier to be simpler, quieter, more ordinary. In those moments, remember this: you were never built for ease, you were built for meaning. And meaning always asks more from those capable of carrying it. Here on Mr. Psycho, this is not about glorifying difference for the sake of ego. It's about recognizing truth, owning responsibility, and stepping fully into who you are without shame. You don't need the world's permission to exist at your depth. You only need the courage to stop denying it. You are not too intense. You are not too sensitive. You are not too much. You are exactly enough for the life you are meant to live. And when you finally stop hiding that truth, you don't just change your own life, you quietly change the direction of the world around you. Thank you for watching.